You are Locked On Dodgers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hello and welcome to the Locked On Dodgers Postcast as they finish off the sweep of the Boston Red Sox at the Ravine. 9-6 the final in the finale, but that was without a doubt too damn close for comfort. I'm Pete Fox, host of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. I've been covering sports in LA dating back to 2007 for NBC Sports Radio and ESPN LA. You can also listen on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. That's where you find Jeff and Vince with the Locked On Dodgers daily podcast. You make them your first listen during the week, and then right after the game, I come on for your second listen. We appreciate you everydayers following us here the way that you do. I appreciate you guys in the comments before the game was even over, calling for Dave Roberts' head, got a DFA Evan Phillips. And don't worry, Roy, I'm not going to sit here and smooth that over. You're right. That was an abomination. That was ugly and despicable. I also said it was abysmal, I think is a very perfect word to describe Evan Phillips' outing there. Also pathetic would be a safe way to describe it, because couldn't get anybody out. Got one out, and that was a struggle. And I think we were all a little bit worried there because the guy he did get out was O'Neill, and O'Neill's been just on fire during this series, at least yesterday with a couple of home runs. In the game one of the series, he had 3 hits. They were all infield hits, but definitely been a guy that's been productive in getting on base. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use that code, all lowercase, LockedOnMLB, for a first deposit match up to $100. 9-6 the final after they go and hit, was it 6 home runs in total for 9 runs? There was one that came, Gavin, a seemingly meaningless RBI there in the 8th inning, but it turned out to be a little bit of a cushion, followed by a Jason Heyward home run. So all the runs today except one came courtesy of the long ball. That was a really good feeling after a very, very bad feeling to start the game. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Here we go again. One pitch, double, 2 pitches later, 2-0 Red Sox. 2 runs on 3 pitches. And I'm screaming at the TV again. Why do they keep throwing balls that Jarren Duran can hit? I don't understand. It has to be arrogance or stupidity or both. It is preposterous. He is a good hitter. He is not Lou Gehrig. He is not Babe Ruth. He's a good hitter. Stop making it easier on him. It is infuriating, throwing balls over the plate. And then later in the game, here comes Yarbs, and Yarbs has got him and O'Neill baffled. If Yarbrough can get him out with a 68-mile-an-hour, I guess it's a slider, I don't know, maybe it's a sweeper, I don't know what the heck it was. But if he can get him out because it's not over the plate, then everyone should be able to get him out. The good news about this performance from James Paxton was, like, right after that, like, he had it locked in. He went 5. He gave up 3 runs on 4 hits, striking out 7. So after that ugly first inning, when he gave up 2, he only gave up 1 more, and that would be in the 3rd. The 6th. That wasn't even his. He was just charged with that run. So a really, really good outing from him. We talk a lot about James Paxton and how he just has this bend don't break sort of thing where he gets into jams by making bad pitches, the wrong place at the wrong time, and then just kind of settles in and starts getting guys out. It's crazy. I mean, frustrating, I guess, but I think it's a good place to be with a pitcher because you know that you hope anyway, you feel fairly confident that he's going to settle down and start getting guys out. So I guess it was just a matter of getting comfortable and finding a rhythm, warming up. Maybe he needs more time in the bullpen. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but the bottom line is that he had a really good outing in spite of the numbers not looking great. Again, 5 innings, 3 runs on 4 hits, striking out 7. He also walked 4, but that is something I think that we expect from him. He always seems to put up a ton of walks, but gets out of the game with the win. This is his 8th win versus just 2 losses. He threw 95 pitches. His ERA, when it's all said and done after this outing, 4.43. I mean, by no stretch of the imagination is he dominating anything, but except, wins on this team. I don't want to call it dominating, but he's taking care of business during a time when the Dodgers need starters to go out there and eat up innings, get guys out. And that's what James Paxton is doing. So we can't really complain too terribly much about him, but Evan Phillips, on the other hand, we can complain about him. Roy is, calling for his head, as are many other people. People are saying DFA him, and Roy's point was that or fear was that I was going to come on like yesterday and say, it's fine. He wasn't that bad. No, today he was bad. And yesterday kind of rolls into today because his last performances have not been really all that good. Again, yesterday, I would say it was a little better than today, but still by no stretch is he a guy that's coming in dominating as your closer, right? He's a guy that comes out there and we're all chewing our fingernails going, oh no, don't wet the bed. So today, what did his line look like today? Got 1 out, gave up 3 runs on 3 hits, striking out 1, walking 2. The game prior to that, which was yesterday, he got the win in spite of a shaky outing, gave up 1 run, 1 earned run, 2 runs on just 1 hit. That was a home run, and had 1 K. So really, he pretty much made, 1 bad pitch yesterday, but definitely didn't look good. Before that, Saturday in Detroit, that was a terrible outing. 2 runs on 3 hits, took the loss there. He also pitched on Friday, decent outing there, 1 hit, bunch of zeros after that. Game before that, July 6th against Milwaukee, he went 1 inning, 1 run on 1 hit, a home run, and 1 strikeout. And then the 5th, Friday against Milwaukee, 1 inning, struck out the side. So of his last 5, he's had 1, 2, 3 bad outings, 2.5 bad outings, and 2 good ones. So you judge that however you feel. Is that terrible? It's not good of late, that's for sure. The last 2 have been bad. So it is a trend that you have to focus on. And yeah, I think part of the frustrating part here was Dave Roberts. I don't think he needs to be fired for that, Nando, but he did come and get him. I think we wanted him pulled maybe a little bit sooner than the walk, but ultimately did the right thing, went and got Daniel Hudson. Now, who came in and got the save, and the Dodgers hold on for the 9-6 win. Something else I need to give credit to Roy on here is a suggestion for a Dodger closer to replace Evan Phillips. Because I'm like, a lot of you don't feel that necessarily Daniel Hudson is the answer. I feel like Blake Trinan could be the answer, as much as I'm not a fan of that dude. I feel like he could be a nice spot filler while they maybe try to find someone at the All-Star break to come in and be a closer. Roy has thrown a name on the table. I will tell you who that is after the break. I'm Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. You can also listen to us on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast is brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. What is Prize Picks? Well, It's a way to have a lot of fun with your cell phone. It's America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 3 million members. They are the easiest, the most exciting way to play DFS. And the good part about this is it's just you against the numbers. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 players and their stat projections for a game. And there are so many different options that you can put on the table for your projection that it gives you a lot of leeway on how you set this up and get into the game and start winning. They have cool promotions there, like lowering the stat projections on Tuesday. On Fridays, you can get your entry fees back if you lose. They also have the newest thing there, the Demons and Goblins. Squares marked with red demons pay more, and they're a little harder to hit. The ones with green goblins are a little easier to hit and pay a little bit less. So if you want to go big with 4 red demons, you can win up to 100 times your money. Quick deposits and easy withdrawals. My initial deposit is super painless and hassle-free. So go to prizepicks.com, use that code LOCKEDONMLB, and you will get a first deposit match up to $100. Prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB for that code to get a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. Prize Picks. It is that easy. Tonight's episode also brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience are what bring home the winning trophy in sports. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has just about everything you need to maintain your vehicle or level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, brake parts, brakes, rotors, all that stuff. I've purchased that and other parts at eBay Motors, and I always save a ton of money doing it, whether you're into speed, power, or style. eBay Motors has got you covered with over 122 million parts. For your #1 ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's guaranteed fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or you get your money back. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay's guaranteed fit is only available to U.S. customers. All right, Dodgers with a big win. Lots of offense in this game, in this series. 6 home runs, putting up 9 runs. Just about all the top part of the lineup, except for Will Smith, who didn't play today. Just about everybody had a home run today, and Shohei Ohtani's home run was a gargantuan blast. We'll get to the details of that part of the Diamond Dogs list here in just a little bit. But first, I wanted to get to this thing that Roy brought up pregame about who the Dodgers need to go get as a closer. Not a guy I'm super familiar with, not a guy many of us are, because he plays for the Miami Marlins, right? And his name is Tanner Scott. He is their closer and has some very, very decent numbers. His last 5 games, an inning and a third, no runs, no hits, 1K. A game before that on July 14th, an inning and a third, no runs, no hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Really just zeros, except for strikeouts over his last 5 games. To that, I will say, all right, I think he seems to have the credentials, but let's not forget the Miami Marlins are not playing a lot of high leverage games. Mets, Reds, Houston, White Sox, and Boston, the last 5 for them. So I don't know. I think the Dodgers have enough in their own bullpen right now. And I know there's a lot of talk on the comments about Kenley Jansen. I don't think that's the answer. We don't need to go back in time. Let's go forward. Tanner Scott would be good. Let's look at that. But I think, honestly, a starting pitcher is more important for this team right now. The guy in Chicago, Crochet. There's a lot of talk that after DFAing, who got DFA'd? My buddy's nephew. Why am I blanking on his name? So many names running through my head. James Outman. God, sorry about that, James. DFA'd today because Jason Heyward is healthy again. The reason that a lot of people feel that they DFA'd him is because they're going to try to put a deal together with the White Sox that will include him for Garrett Crochet. And look, I think I mentioned this before, the first time they DFA'd him about a month and a half ago, when I texted his uncle to say, hey, how's he doing? What's his thought process? How's he feeling at this point? Look, he said he's a professional. He gets it, part of the game, and wouldn't be the least bit surprised if they traded him. So it's definitely in his mind. He wouldn't be surprised at all if they put a deal together to acquire somebody that they need, and he was a part of that deal. Right now, unfortunately for him and the Dodgers, I guess, it's fortunate for the team, unfortunate for him. They're fairly deep in the outfield, and it's fairly easy to find outfielders. It's not a make or break situation or position for your team. Pitching is. So they are in it to win it this year, and getting another starting pitcher right now is definitely on their list, their Christmas list. But the good news, Glasnow comes back on Wednesday, and I don't know if you heard, probably did, but Clayton Kershaw starts against the Giants on Thursday. So slight difference. I guess I misspoke. Outman was optioned to AAA, not DFA. My bad. Thanks, Tim. There is a difference. I didn't catch how he was sent to AAA. I just know that he was sent down, not on the team anymore. So I think they DFA'd him the first time, didn't they? Or no, was he optioned then too? I can't remember. These young players and how they move them around to save the years and team control and all of that stuff. I don't necessarily pay the closest attention to that, but I do know that James Outman is not on the big club anymore. He is back in Oklahoma City, playing in AAA. So my apologies for the error, but yes, Kershaw coming back on Thursday. Manuel is not happy about that. Oh no, not Kershaw. I think it's fine. I don't love the fact that they're running him out there against the Giants, because there's always more on the line against the Giants. But ultimately, look, you got to get him out there if he's healthy, right? You're not going to pay him all that money to sit around and talk to the announcers during the game, are you? He's got to do something. He's not a middle reliever at this time of the season, right? I mean, what do you think they should do with Kershaw if he's healthy? Have him come in the sixth and for one inning? I don't think that's possible. That's not going to be what he's good for. Now, when we get to the postseason, this is a whole different conversation of where Kershaw fits in if he's healthy. Of course, we'll have a lot more information about what he's capable of at that point, so we can make a different assessment, a different decision on what we think he's good for as we get to later in the season. But right now, yeah, you got to run him out there. ASAFP, man. Get him on the mound. Let's go. Let's see what he's got. Tonight, the Dodgers just went off. Let's do the Diamond Dogs list here, because it is just filled with long balls. I mean, this really, I feel like, and I apologize for this, guys, I feel like I've spent a little too much time trying to find some stuff that makes this game negative and not super positive, because, I don't want to get too over the moon with this game, because the way it ended really is kind of a microcosm of how the Dodgers have been playing of late. Save this series, which they come away with a sweep, but it wasn't like they dominated. I feel like they pulled this one out of their backside yesterday for sure, and on the first game of the series Friday night. A ninth inning home run, or was it the eighth? It was an eighth inning home run from Freddie Freeman to win the game. That was a game that could have gone either way. They didn't dominate in any game in this series except this one, the final one. But even then, in the end, it was kind of like, oh, it's a little shaky, stumbling to the finish line. So, yes, there's a ton of positivity offensively in this game and defensively, aside from the bullpen named Evan Phillips. So let's shine the light on the positivity and enjoy that for the final 10 minutes here of the postcast. For number 5 on the Diamond Dogs list, Freddie Freeman. Home run number 16, bottom of the first, 417 feet. First pitch, fastball, absolutely roped to right field, squared it up, and that guy has been on fire through this series. Average at 292, clutch hits, as I mentioned, the grand slam in the first game of the series. Had some hits yesterday, 1 for 4 today. Freddie Freeman's got it rolling and doesn't seem to enjoy even 1 ounce of it. even after Gavin Lux came up to him on his shoulder, the kind of I guess it's become a Instagram moment where he stands, like I saw it during the broadcast. I'm not good at reading lips. I didn't know what he said. I knew he said something, but he's standing there staring at him and he says, "You're a bad man." And Freddie doesn't even turn around and acknowledge him, crack a smile or anything. I guess a lot of people would like that he's focused. He's a businessman. He's just work for him. He's focused on the game. Doesn't need any of that stuff. He's just in it to win it. Okay, fine. I thought maybe a little bit of humor, smile, enjoyment, but no, not from Freddie. Number 4, Andy Pias, a double in the first down the right field line. Dodgers got things rolling pretty quick. Right after they fell behind 2-0 in the top of the first, they came right back at it. Number 3, RBI double from Gavin Lux down the left field line. That was a really nice piece of hitting from him. He also homered, his 5th homer of the season, 379 feet, came on a 1-0 fastball, and that ball was absolutely tattooed. For number 2 on the list, Teo Hernandez, an opposite field job, 372 feet, an 82-mile-an-hour sweeper. It was a 2-2 count. It was like the 8th pitch of the at-bat, so he'd been fouling some balls off. A really nice at-bat for him, his 20th homer of the season. For number 1A on the Diamond Dogs list, Austin Barnes, AB, Riverside, California, Poly High School, 399 feet, his first homer of the season. Came on a 1-0 cutter, and you watch the slow-mo replay, didn't even seem to swing the bat all that hard. It was kind of like just got to put it in play kind of a swing, and good for a home run there. So that was nice to see. And then Shohei Ohtani, kind of the opposite, got one right exactly where he wanted it, where he was waiting on it, and he absolutely blasted it. That was the 2nd longest home run at Dodger Stadium in like a long time, or maybe forever. I don't know. Since they started keeping this record, since the StatCast era, I believe is how they put it. 473 feet, right center field. For a minute, they thought it hit the scalloped roof out there, but it did not. It went just under the roof. So beyond the seats, under the roof, out into the pavilion concourse there. I mean, it was a blast. His 30th of the season, it came on a 2-1 cutter. When he hits them and he's got it locked in and he is on it, it is a pretty sight to see. Dodgers with a 9-6 win. The last home run didn't get on the Diamond Dogs list because I had already prepared it, but Shohei, a 369-footer, 2-run job. Biggio scored there, who had singled home Lux. So a really nice game for Gavin Lux as well. 3 hits after 2 hits yesterday. So he had 4 in a row. 2 yesterday got pulled for Kike Hernandez, who ended up being very impactful to yesterday's win. Then right back to work today, double, home run. Think he made an out there, and then another hit. So 3 on the day, 2 RBIs, 1 run scored, and a home run. So he is definitely locked in, and all you people that want him DFA'd, I told you he would come around. Now, he's not necessarily lighting it up just yet, but he is being productive. 225 on the season with a 333 slugging percentage. Is that what it is? 333 slugging percentage. Yeah. So his OPS is well over 500, almost 600. Yeah, just over 600 to be specific. So he's doing well, getting the job done and playing good defense as well. Dodgers a 9-6 win number 59 on the season, and 31 at home. Red Sox are 53-35 after getting swept 29-20 on the road. I'm Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. You can also listen to us on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed, where you'll find Jeff and Vince probably later tonight. If not tonight, early tomorrow morning, they'll be breaking this game and series down as well. So make sure you check them out. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast brought to you by FanDuel. You know I love sports. I love them so much that I never want them to stop. When there's no sports, like yesterday, it was today, right? Yeah, Sunday. When the Open Championship was in the books and Xander Schauffele wins his 2nd major of the season, I was like, now what are we going to do? Between now and the time the Dodger game started, there wasn't a whole lot to do. Playoffs are over in NBA and the NHL. Now the majors are over in golf. We're still waiting on the US Open in tennis, so that'll be nice to see. But if the sports aren't sportsing the way you want them to, check out FanDuel. They will help you get things going whenever you want it to get going. All you have to do is open the app, and dream up any bet anytime you are in the mood, and it'll keep you entertained. This summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long at FanDuel.com. Head over, FanDuel.com. Start making the most of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Dodgers with a 9-6 win. Lots of hitting today, lots of offense. So I think when we break it down, when we come away from this game, the fact that Evan Phillips kind of really sullied a dominant win, I think we'll forget about that, and we'll remember the Shohei Ohtani blast, the Freddie Freeman home run, the Gavin Lux home run, Jason Heyward home run. I think all of the Austin Barnes. I mean, really, it's a lot of offense. And when you're hitting home runs like that, it had to be a great game to attend, right? Beautiful day, like low 80s, I think is what they said, maybe 85. Paxton has the shaky outing or the shaky first inning, and then gets it all back in check and just dominates from there. So when the Dodgers had a fairly comfortable lead there, it was just kind of cruising along. This one didn't ever seem to be in doubt. They fell behind early 2-0, rallied right back in the bottom. I love that. I mean, again, I would rather see a clean first and then, a couple of innings for the Dodgers to kind of get into the game. But I also really, really appreciate and gain confidence from rallying back, answering back right after you go into a hole, especially in the first inning, especially after they continue to get beat up by Jarren Duran. I mean, that has to be a little demoralizing for them. Maybe not. And maybe that's why Jarren Duran had such a great series, because they didn't treat him any differently than anybody else in that lineup, which is a problem. I mean, if you've got a guy that has just got you squared up and is roughing you up just about every time he comes to the plate, that guy, nothing was off limits for that dude. And he was making contact almost every time. And, he just find a pitch that he'd like and would hammer it into the gap. And I'm like, why are you giving this guy good pitches to hit? Now, granted, today he was 2 for 5. So they did get to him today a little bit, but he had 4 RBI. Stop throwing good pitches to guys that are beating you up. Like the guy in Arizona, the first baseman, that they just let that guy hit home runs off him left, right, and center. Like, are you not paying attention that this guy owns you? Jarren Duran owned the Dodgers this weekend, and they didn't seem to give a rat's ass. I don't understand. Focus. Where are your analytics? Pitch around the guy. Stop throwing him balls over the plate. I'm sorry. A lot of people will say, oh, it's hard. Baseball's hard. You can't always throw it where you want. Really? It's they're professional athletes. They have the ability to throw that ball wherever they want. At the very minimum, bury some sliders in the dirt. Throw some curveballs down and away. Don't give him balls over the plate to hit. It's just foolish. So I don't get it. I really don't, other than the fact that they don't treat anybody any differently. We're going to pitch. We're going to do what we do. And that's that. We're not going to worry too much about one guy. Well, you got away with one today, and for that matter, this whole series, because Jarren Duran absolutely freaking owned you. And it's not just Jarren Duran. I don't feel like the Dodgers are going to bump into the Red Sox in the playoffs. I'm not terribly worried about it, but they seem to have this problem with 1 or 2 guys from every team that kind of roughs them up. They don't make an adjustment. They just keep doing the dumb, wrong thing. And I think that is what ticks me off. And that's the biggest problem. Make an adjustment. Stop giving the guy strikes, whether it's Jarren Duran or whoever, right? Stop doing the same thing. It's like that it's not really the definition of insanity. If you look up insanity, it's not what everyone says. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. And it's not the definition of insanity, but for this sake, let's say that it is. That's what they're doing. Oh, let's just keep throwing in balls over the plate. And hopefully the reason that Yarbs got him out so many times was because he wasn't throwing balls over the plate. It was burying off speed stuff in the dirt. Open up your eyes. Take a note. As for Paxton, after that first inning, knuckle curve, strikeout, and then forcing. So he really found 2 pitches that were working for him. You know, he loves that knuckle curve, and it must be terribly hard to hit because he struck out 3 on it today. And then the other 4 Ks were forcing fastballs. So good outing from him. And all in all, a solid win, 9-6 to wrap up a sweep. Woohoo! And that leads us on to the Giants, the freaking Giants, who are not a good baseball team. Still fairly banged up. They've gotten some guys back, but it's always interesting when the Dodgers and Giants face off. Blake Snell on the mound tomorrow for the hated ones. The Dodgers are still undecided. So we'll see how that goes. It's going to be interesting for sure. Maybe a bullpen day for the Dodgers against Blake Snell. First pitch, 7:10 at the Ravine. I'm Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers Postcast. Thanks for joining me. Thank you for the comments. We will see you tomorrow night after the game. Enjoy the remainder of your weekend, which I know is almost over, but it's still fairly. You got a few hours for maybe a couple celebratory pops or a dip in the pool or, what have you. I'm going to watch Cobra Kai with my daughter on Netflix. I'm excited about that. New season of Cobra Kai out. So weekend's not over yet. Make sure you enjoy it. We'll talk tomorrow. Have a good night.